day and a safe remaining week and that's in store for you and yours. And I say that respectfully to the genuine ones only, not your genuine love respect. Well, it's the thought process for me. You know, it really is a thought process for me. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure, loving yourself is not a crime. So because you love yourself and you can come out your comfort zone to love the confidence that you have built up within you that may took you a very long time, or you probably just coming out your comfort zone to, allow yourself to introduce yourself to folks or whatever the case may be that didn't know you, they overlooked you or whatever the case may be, and they don't understand how you showing up for yourself at the end of the day because you can acknowledge the fact that you love yourself. Never stop loving yourself. And never allow someone to dim your light because you love yourself. And I say that respectfully. Let it be a one-sided conversation in their thought process when it comes to you at the end of the day because they don't know you. And I say that respectfully. They would sit there and judge a book by its cover, or they would sit there and paint a delusional mindset within a thought process of a description that's truly not you at the end of the day, just so they can feel better within themselves. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, they're hate in disguise. And at the end of the day, they see the fact that the love that you put into yourself, they don't know how to install that love within themselves. It be the mindset for me. How they would sit here and hurt you with words and try to sneak diss you and try to kick you when you're already down, or try to kick you down because they don't want to see you love yourself. Regardless of what environment you was brought up in at the end of the day, and I say this respectfully, it don't matter. It don't matter about your culture. It don't matter about your color tone and whatever the case may be. It don't matter. It don't matter about your sexual orientation. If you don't have malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself or others around you, it's not a crime to love yourself and acknowledge your reflection of yourself when you tune into yourself. And I say that respectfully. A person will sit there and be quick to judge a book by its cover because they don't know themselves. And I say that respectfully. They can't get in tune with themselves to respect you because they don't respect themselves, let alone to acknowledge, to have self-awareness, to love themselves and know their value at the end of the day. And I say that respectfully. It's the mindset for me. What people fail to realize at the end of the day, you create your happiness. You create your love that can actually blossom within. But when you overlook yourself at the end of the day, you don't see the potential that you have within you because you're overlooking yourself and you're sitting there worried about the next person who wants to love themselves. It's the mindset for me. With the one-sided mind games at the end of the day, you're only playing in your own face when you come across a real one. And I say that respectfully. It's the thought process for me. I never understood because of the fact that somebody from a child point of view going into their adulthood, been being bullied majority of their whole entire life, right? Minding their business, not bothering nobody. They just know how to show up for themselves. And because they know how to show up for themselves, there's always a hater in disguise that always has something to say. It doesn't make sense. It's disgusting. It really is. Because these bullies, right? They don't like the fact that you can look at your reflection of yourself and you can tune into yourself, and genuine people could tune into who you truly are because you're so authentically real with yourself and you know how to be real around with others at the end of the day. Regardless of your background at the end of the day, how you was brought up and raised, it don't matter. It's a difference when understanding your past and understanding where you are today, and understanding at the end of the day, your past don't live here today, but it allows you to become your best self vision of yourself. I'm not identifying who I was then. I'm identifying who I am today. It's a difference. And the difference behind it is you don't got to sit there and fake gaslight nobody when you're truly at peace with yourself. And you ain't got to sit there and fake gaslight nobody when you truly love yourself. And you ain't got to wear a mask to tune into yourself, the healthy way to be at peace and to love yourself and to respect yourself. And that's why they so bothered by your energy. Because you can get up and do your day-to-day routines and switch your routines up and mean what you say and mean who you say you are and understand that when you look at your reflection of yourself, that you're so tuned into who you truly are, that you genuinely love yourself. Misery loves company, and the only way for you to entertain is to genuinely acknowledge it. And because they're so miserable and they're looking for a reaction out of you today, they're not getting the response that they want out of you today. Because when you become your own worst enemy at the end of the day, you don't have self-awareness within yourself, huh? But you know how to pay attention to having controlling issues and being a narcissist and trying to psychosomatic thought process or paint a delusional thought process within your mindset to paint a description to of somebody that's truly not the description of them. It'd be the mindset for me. How when you truly love yourself, how a hate in disguise will sit there and play you so close. Or a hate in disguise will see you love yourself in the most healthiest ways. And they would try to project all this negative energy on you. And when they realize they can't get in tune to who you are, they keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying until they reevaluate their thought process and say to themselves, as you know what? I need to do better for myself today. You know, sneak this in somebody at the end of the day, it's not benefiting me. It's not. Trying to project negative energy on my neighbor is not benefiting me. Once you realize it's not benefiting you at the end of the day, stay in your own lane. You know, just because somebody may have had a substance abuse problem, or someone may have been homeless, or someone didn't know how to pay their bills on time and they was out of time, and somebody didn't have their folks in their life, or somebody didn't have the right type of parents or guardians in their life, or somebody didn't make the best decisions in their lives at one point in time in their lives. Or they didn't know how to show up for themselves because they was just trying to be patient with their process. And now that they're showing up for themselves today and they're honoring themselves in the most healthiest ways, regardless of what upbringing they was brought up within, that didn't define who they was going to become. It allowed them to become their best self vision of themselves. And they understood the obstacles of their journey to understand, you know what, with the pain and the trauma that was endured within them, that they wanted to love themselves and honor themselves in the most healthiest way so they can be able to understand God's plan. To understand that, you know what, there are better days ahead. Me choosing my best self vision of myself, I can elevate. I can understand at the end of the day the reflection that I see within myself when I look at my mirror of myself. You know, when the pain don't feel the same anymore because you're at peace with yourself. You understood what you've been through, but it doesn't affect you the way it used to. It's different. The pain of the trauma, and I say this respectfully, it will still always be there. But the outcome to understanding the definition that there are better days ahead, that you're not going to allow something to affect your day-to-day activities, to show up for yourself. It's a difference. Just because you didn't have your folks in your life and you didn't have this person in your life and you didn't have the proper guidance for this, you didn't have the right guidance for that, you didn't have this, you didn't have that. They not understanding all these things that you didn't have for yourself, you still override. You allowed yourself to become your best self vision of yourself, to understand each obstacle that was placed in front of you. You didn't understand it when you was going through it at the moment, but you understood the assignment within assignment that if I be patient with my process to show up for me, and I don't want my past to live here today, but I want to become my best self vision of myself. I'm going to understand at the end of the day With change comes growth. With growth comes true understanding of self, and to have awareness within yourself that there are better days ahead. You know, these tools that God installed within us: self-awareness, self-healing, self-respect, self-peace, self-control, self-discipline, self-confidence, self-care, self-value, self-love, self-worth, self-patience, healthy boundaries, healthy balance. You know, it's able to understand all these tools that God installed within us. You have to have balance within balance to show up for yourself, to understand your self-awareness, to understand how to have the self-confidence within yourself, to understand to have self-respect for yourself, to have the balance within yourself, to have self-patience within yourself, to have balance within yourself. So you be able to show up for yourself, to have balance within yourself. And because they don't have balance within themselves to understand that, to stay in their own lane, and you as the neighbor, you don't have malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself or others around you. They'll sit there and quick to judge a book by its cover. And I say that respectfully. All because at the end of the day, they can't get in tune how you override it, how you overcame the challenges of the obstacles of your challenges to show up for yourself. It's okay. But you understood your assignment to stay in your lane. Your neighbor's going to judge you, regardless of whatever pain was endured within you. Regardless if you start elevating, becoming your best self vision of yourself, your neighbor is still going to judge you. Your neighbor is still going to try to bring you down and hurt you with words because you're choosing your best self vision of yourself. And because they don't understand the reflection of themselves when they look at themselves in the mirror, because they can't get in tune with themselves, because they're so miserable with them being miserable, they're trying to project that negative energy on you. And you know what? You know what's so funny? The only way for you to entertain misery loves company is to actually acknowledge it. And because you're not acknowledging it, your neighbor's so pissed off. They're so mad that they can't even stay in their own lane. And they're being rejected by God when it comes to you, because God is covering you, and God has sold the private conversations amongst the private conversations that this person was having towards you. And God said there are better days ahead for all the right reasons. You know, when you sit there and quick to judge your neighbor by his cover at the end of the day, because of the pain that they was endured, you never judge somebody by their pain. You don't do such a thing, because judging somebody by their pain, you're only playing in your own face, because you know what? You're so one-sided when it comes to your pain. You want everybody's attention when it comes to your pain. You wouldn't want nobody to bring you down when you dealing with your pain and your trauma at the end of the day. You see how one-sided you are? It be the thought process of me looking for attention in all the wrong places. See how that go? But you see somebody willing to overcome the obstacles of their trauma and their pain, to become their best self vision of themselves. And you can't get in tune to who you are. So you rather just sneak this your neighbor today. You see how unhealthy that is? You know how unhealthy that is? It's so unhealthy to the point where a person will be so threatened by your energy that you're becoming your best self vision of yourself. They would try to fight you. And that's how delusional they are. Because you know what authorities will ask them? Ma'am, sir, what through your thought process to allow you to believe that this was okay and this was the norm for you to do to attack your neighbor today? And when they don't have a valid reason, they reevaluating their life. When they sitting behind bars, saying to themselves today, why did I pick on that person? And they reevaluate their thought process. You are a hate in disguise. You got controlling issues. You are a narcissist. You have a problem within yourself. That's why you can't show up for yourself. And you wondering how somebody else how somebody else is showing up for themselves. Because they understood their assignment. God's plan for them to better days ahead. When you don't understand your worth at the end of the day, you're going to overlook yourself and hurt your own self with words. And then you sit there and hurt other people around you. Because of a negative projection that you're trying to put into the universe. It be the mindset for me. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. How you can sit here and go out your way to antagonize somebody and paint a delusional description of that's not truly them. And then you want to fight them. So because you was antagonizing them and you wasn't looking for the reaction that you thought you was going to get out of them, now you want to fight them? Why? Because they love themselves? That's the thought process. And this is why bullying's been going on for so many years within generations after generation after generation. And this generation curse really needs to be broken. And I say that respectfully. Because a child will go to school. A mother or father will allow a child to go to school. They nurture this child. They love this child. They send the child to school with love and respect. And you got that hating ass disguised child in the corner reevaluating their thought process, saying themselves is, well, I don't like that person because at the end of the day, they get love. That's how it all starts. That's how it all starts. When the enemy allows you to believe this was the norm. And it never was the norm. It's the thought process of me. Because it happens. You always have that hating ass child in the classroom that wants to fight somebody for no apparent reason. Because the teachers are asking this child, amongst this child, like, hey, what happened today? What did you not like about this person? What was going on? I don't know. And then you start to analyze why this child or these children don't like this one particular child. And then when you start to hear the things that's being said about the children's shoes, clothes, you start to reevaluate your thought process. The child is clean, and even if they're not, why are you so bothered? Because then when you look at that child, at the end of the day, you reevaluate your thought process to yourself is, I see why. I see why. It be the thought process for me. You see how the animosity and the hate starts off at a young age? It's disgusting. And this has been happening for generation after generation. And it's so disgusting. It should be no reason why a guardian sends their child off to school for their child to be bullied by another child, all because that child doesn't know what love looks like up close in person, or that child does not know what respect looks like up close in person, or that child doesn't have confidence within themselves up close in person to have respect for themselves, to respect their neighbor. You mad at somebody that had a book bag for 2 years, 4 years. What's the problem? It's in good condition. It still works. What happened? It's the thought that is already trained for you to already allow yourself to believe that this is the norm. Because when you become an adult, it's just certain things that you got to cope with as being an adult. So you have to understand that sun within the sun, when being a child, how when you're grooming a child, at the end of the day, and a child sees certain things at the end of the day. When they become an adult, they think it's the norm, when it never was the norm. It's the mindset for me. It's disgusting. It really is. Regardless of if a child wore shoes for 2, 3 years, or a book bag for 4 years, it don't matter. This child is already learning discipline. This child is already learning how to have confidence within themselves. This child is already learning all the tools that God installed within them already. And being that these tools are already installed within this child of God, look at the hate in disguise, the bully, trying to bring this child down already. It's the mindset for me. It's disgusting because all these character traits, it goes into someone's adulthood. And they think it's the norm, and it's not the norm. And it's more disgusting to see, and I say this respectfully, it's even more disgusting to see overly grown adults that act their shoe size, not their body weight, with kids, be the biggest bullies. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It really is. Because that's not how God created us. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. It's the thought process for me. It's sad. Or because someone's being shown love. Or because someone loves themselves. Or because someone knows how to show up and actually genuinely, authentically smile within. They know how to smile within. Something that you can't relate to. Because you're so used to the toxicness. You're so used to of a projection being the norm of the norm, and it's not the norm when it comes to unhealthy behavior patterns. You know, the world can be a better place if we actually was at peace with each other and actually respected each other. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child, and it also takes a village and a community to respect each other and to be at peace within. We would get so far in life. We will. We can get so far in life without the negative projection on us. Us bringing our neighbors down because we're having a misunderstanding self-day with ourselves. We just got a bad phone call, so I decided to sneak this my neighbor today. Or then, I got malicious intentions towards my neighbor today. Because I don't have self-awareness within myself, because I have controlling issues, and I don't care because I don't have a heart. I don't care how my neighbor feels about me today. I'm going to psych them out their thought process, loading their frame in their pockets, and their eyesight today. So, and I'm going to project negative energy on their thought process and paint a fake narrative as to who they truly not. Because I have a delusional mindset today. And I don't care. You see how that works? Wow. It's the mindset for me. How people really think like this. They do. It's disgusting. And to see overly grown adults that say they grown, act like this and they carry themselves like this, is disgusting. It's disgusting. And it be half of the time, sometimes they children be having more common sense than them. That's the thought process I don't be understanding. How? How is that possible? How your child got more common sense than you? When the mathing ain't mathing. It's the mindset for me. What a projection being projected on innocent people who don't deserve it. Not even a little bit. You know, because what happens is somebody that loves themselves and they're not trying to give up on themselves. They're not living in fear. They're not being discouraged. They're just taking one day at a time to be patient with their process and to understand themselves and understanding to go within when it comes to healing and understanding that God is still being patient with them, and they understand that when they look at their reflection of themselves, they're willing to choose their best self-vision of themselves. And they mean what they say and they say what they mean. And they don't got to wear a mask to tune into themselves, to honor themselves, to know what their authentic self-value is, knowing their self-worth. It's not a crime to love yourself. And it's sad that people really feel like it's a crime to love yourself. You speak up for yourself, and because you acknowledge and you point something out that you know was wrongdoing towards you, and you're wrong for speaking up for yourself. Someone decides to play the discrimination card against you today, and you decide to speak up for yourself in the most healthiest way. Like, you don't gotta exchange toxic words within a toxic word of a miserable person who doesn't have common sense at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, you could do it respectfully. And because you do it respectfully, they don't like that. Because you speak up for yourself, and now they want to fight you. They want to bring harm towards you. It be the mindset for me. Like, how does that make sense with it making sense? It's not going to make sense. How self-love gets misunderstood for somebody to disrespect you? How? How is that? You have genuine self peace within you. And you mean what you say, and you say what you mean when you tune into yourself. It's not only on the outside, but it's also within. That you're truly meaning what you say, that you truly love yourself, to have the self-peace within, that it took you for so long to get to where you are today, to tune into yourself. And when the enemy comes knocking at the door, when God is covering you to protect you to better days ahead, for all the right reasons, when they get rejected at the door, because they cannot enter. Because God saw the private conversation amongst the private conversations, and they weren't for you. And that's okay. You know, sometimes when you start to elevate to become your best self vision of yourself, and you choose you, when you start to become to your high, when you start to get to your high vibration level of yourself, someone that's at a low vibration is not going to understand you. They're not. They're not going to understand that you're in tune with who you are. They're not going to understand that you have self-awareness within yourself to love yourself. They're not going to understand it. They're not going to understand how you tie your shoe today. They're not going to understand how is it that you're truly showing up for yourself when I try to kick you down, when I thought you was down. Or they try to project negative energy in your mindset to kick you down. And when they realize it's not working, they're so mad. To the point where they need a whole straight body jacket. Because this narrative that they was painting when it came to you, it's nothing but a delusional mindset that they projected on you. A description that you're truly not of their delusional ass mindset. It's the mindset for me. You know, in situations, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. It could be toxic family. It could be that unhealthy relationship. You put a name to your book, a stranger in the street, an associate that you allowed in your inner circle. It don't matter. When you start to choose you, they don't like that. Especially the ones who are narcissists. Especially the ones who don't love themselves. Especially the ones that fake gaslight themselves and paint a narrative to people that they're so in tune with themselves, and the whole entire time they're not. They're truly miserable within. So they try to use you as a pawn. Like, what? You're the topic of the discussion. That they thought was a joke. But they realized they thought process in the day, they were the joke of their own joke at the end of the day. Joking on somebody that wants to elevate, it's the thought process of me. How childish are you? See what I say, how people act their shoe size, not their body weight? It brings it back to elementary school. It's the mindset for me. How school always been in session. Because we never outgrow school. Because you learn something new every single day. That's what people fail to realize. You learn something new every single day. And one thing I realize a lot of people don't understand about school at the end of the day, they need to stay in their own lane when it comes to respecting a neighbor. Because their neighbor has confidence within themselves, or their neighbor is just trying to find themselves, to find balance within themselves, to pick themselves up. And they honor themselves to say, you know what, I do want better days ahead. I can acknowledge I want better days ahead for me. And because I know I want better days ahead for me, they're not going to understand my plan. They're not going to understand God's plan when it comes to me. Because God said there are better days ahead. And when your steps is ordered, they're not going to understand how God is showing up for you today. They're not going to understand how when you're able to look at your reflection of yourself to show up for yourself today, that's going to go over their head because you genuinely, authentically love yourself. And the reaction that they looking for you out of you today is they're not going to get it. Because you ain't going to sit here and allow somebody to psych you out your freedom, let alone your thought process, your eyesight, or your pockets. Why would you do such a thing? You know how it feels not to have. You know how it feels not to be able to call on somebody when you're time in need. So why would you want to stop your growth? from showing up from yourself, or because of a negative projection that someone is trying to project on you of their delusional mindset of a description that's truly not you. You see how that works? It's the thought process for me. It really is. Because people play all day long looking for reaction. Always love yourself, regardless to who's looking and who's not. Love yourself in the most healthiest way. That toxic behavior don't live here today. It's okay to acknowledge that whatever you've been through in your past, that was the enemy's plan for you not to show for yourself today. And because God said there are better days ahead, you're able to identify who you are to show up for yourself today, to honor and respect yourself. So be patient with your process because God is still patient with you. Get in tune to who you are. It's okay. They ain't gonna understand it. Just keep elevating though. Because it was always part of God's plan for you to elevate. A distraction with a distraction of a toxic distraction don't stop your growth today. And I say that respectfully. Never. Choose you. Love you. Respect you. Because you know what? God will send genuine people into your life that's going to genuinely love you. God will send genuine people into your life that's going to genuinely respect you for who you truly are. Because you matter and you are worthy. You are. That's what they don't want you to feel, worthy of yourself in a healthy way. They want you to live in fear. They want you to be in depression mode. They want you to give up. They want you to live in a delusional mindset as to being discouraged. Nah. When the enemy tries to bring you down, when it doesn't work, it be the mindset for me. Like, leave innocent people alone. It doesn't make sense how you can actually say that you love yourself. How can you sit there and say you love yourself, right? And you look at your reflection of yourself, and all you do is hurt yourself with words. And because you hurt yourself with words, you project that negative energy on an innocent person. And because you're not understanding how they showing up for themselves, regardless of the trauma and pain that was endured with them, on them, who gave up on them at the end of the day, you're looking at their life point of view and saying how, why them, why not me? Once you reevaluate your thought process, say to yourself is, you never loved yourself. Because if you loved yourself enough, you would not be worried about the next person. And if you actually are so inspired, you're motivated, ask them for a few pointers how they did it, instead of trying to bring them down. It's a difference. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. You see how that works? People would rather bring their neighbor down than actually get motivation from their neighbor when their neighbor's actually motivating them. The hate in disguise, now you see why. It be the thought process for me. You see how that works? How the hate in disguise is so motivated by their neighbor that's elevating and loving themselves. They're so motivated, but they're a hate in disguise. Instead of being a hate in disguise, motivate yourself and acknowledge and respect your neighbor. Because I believe if you was so real with yourself, your neighbor can respect you. They'll give you a few brownie points as to how they overcame their pain and how they showing up for themselves today. It'll be an even exchange because why? They on God's timing. They not on the enemy's timing. That energy hit different. And this is why people got to stay in their own lane to protect themselves from people like you, the enemy. A negative projection trying to bring somebody down because you don't understand yourself today. Or because you don't understand how your neighbor's showing up for themselves. How they got this car, how they tie their shoe, why they wearing that wig like that, why they got this, why they got that, and I don't got it, why they got all this money, why I don't got it, why they sitting with this person, how they able to know that person, how they know this person, how they know that person. It's the thought process for me. If you tuned into yourself, you'll be able to elevate and see life on the other side, and actually that is actually shining bright. So you can actually identify who you are to actually grow and blossom. Because when the sun starts shining on you, you're able to see for yourself a lot more better. But you're in the dark with yourself, so you can't see. You can't see because you don't know your worth. And you don't have self-awareness. You're controlling. You're a narcissist. You're a manipulator. And you don't have good intentions besides trying to project negative energy on an innocent person. And it's not cute at all. There's nothing attractive about you doing that. I don't understand what's wrong with people trying to bring somebody down because they love themselves. Because you don't know how to love yourself, so you rather bring somebody down. Because you don't know how to tune into yourself. And it's real disgusting to hear that because you don't know what love is and you don't know how it feels for someone to respect you, or you're not used to certain individuals, and you're not used to. It just goes to show you a one-sided individual that you're not used to something. Coming out your comfort zone. Having the confidence to come out your comfort zone, to elevate in a healthy way. You rather live in a mindset as to becoming your worst enemy and allowing the enemy allow you to believe that this was the norm. It's unhealthy. It's totally unhealthy. There's nothing attractive about you when it comes to it. And I say that respectfully. Nothing is attractive about you. Nothing. Not understanding why this person in that relationship with this person, but you in a relationship with somebody that's beating you behind every single day, disrespecting you every day. Or you in a relationship where you the one that got the hand problem, beating people up. And you so miserable with them being miserable, you don't have to show up for yourself. And you worried about how this person's so in love with this person at the end of the day. You see how that works? Worry about all the wrong things because you're not in tune with yourself. You so worried about the next person at the end of the day. You so inspired by their life decisions. It's not even motivating you enough to change your ways. But you're a hate in disguise. Saying this person is stupid because they love themselves. What? What? It be the mindset for me, like, I don't even care to know who raised you at this point. I never understood it. How somebody had the mindset like this to disrespect their neighbor and have malicious intentions and all this toxic behavior. And they have children. And then the child excuse when they get older is what they saw. And it's just a projection of a projection being projected on that innocent child. How that mindset was projected on you, right? But sometimes in life, a lot of people outgrow the mindset of the ignorancy, and a lot of people don't. Because regardless to how your upbringing was, when something doesn't feel right, you know it doesn't feel right. And I never understood that. Like an innocent child being bullied, right? The uncomfortableness behind it. And especially if that never happened to them before. And they trying to reevaluate their thought process and say to themselves is, I don't even bother nobody. Why me? You know how scared that child is? So I can only imagine you being an adult, the inner child within you, how scared you are to show up for yourself. Because you're so scared to be yourself. Because someone overlooked you. Someone didn't take the time to have patience with you. Because they say sometimes when you see certain things in your household, you see certain things around you, it becomes the norm. It does. It does become the norm. But it's not the norm. It's not the norm. It's not. And it really needs, this generation curse really needs to be broken. It really does. Because there's a lot of adults walking around with their inner child that's crying out for help. They are. And they don't even know how to get in tune with their inner child. Because they're so hurt. And because they're so hurt, they project this energy into the universe to bring somebody down that truly loves themselves. It's the mindset for me. Wow. What a cold world we live in. Trying to find balance with the communication. When it becomes a one-sided situation, you gotta part ways and get in your lane and pay attention, to love yourself, to respect yourself, to stay in your own lane, to understand your awareness within yourself that there's better days ahead. You know, not to sneak this your neighbor because your neighbors have a misunderstanding self-day with themselves. But to love yourself, to respect your neighbor with no malicious intentions. Yeah, that energy had different today. And I say that respectfully. It's a thought process for me. Wow. Self-love is misunderstood for disrespect. They say how? When your neighbor can't get in tune with themselves, to love themselves, to respect themselves, they will sit there and disrespect you. Or because you love yourself, showing up for yourself. They will sit there and hurt you with words, to disrespect you. Try to allow you to come out of character because they have controlling issues. They're painting a description of a delusional mindset, of their delusional ass mindset at the end of the day, of a description that's truly not you. Or because you love yourself. You see how that works? It's the thought process for me. Or because you love yourself. When the devil doesn't live here today, it be the mindset for me. A generation curse that's been broken, I can get in tune with that. I'd rather better days ahead than to sit here and sneak diss my neighbor because they're having a misunderstanding self-day with themselves, and I'm just trying to elevate and become my best self vision of myself. It be the thought process for me. It's not attractive about you sneak dissing your neighbor, to have malicious intentions. Ew. It's the thought process for me. You know, what I realized, when you have self-love for yourself and you come out your comfort zone, this is why people don't come out their comfort zone to talk to new people. I'll tell you why. You gotta protect your energy at all times. Getting to know somebody new is balance within balance of having respect for one another. But when it's a one-sided situation and someone's trying to figure you out before actually getting to know you, and they're already painting a delusional thought process in their mindset as a description that you truly not at the end of the day. And just for them to reevaluate their thought process, this is the stuff that they say. I thought that you, how could you thought I what? And I never acknowledged that. An assumption of an assumption, hate in disguise. Because at the end of the day, because what you deal with on your day-to-day basis doesn't mean what I deal with on my day-to-day basics. How I show up for myself is not how you show up for yourself. It's different. We're not the same. How you allow someone to come into your inner circle, right? And just to have a conversation with them. Just to get to know somebody new. And they're already assuming that they know you. I thought. You thought what? How could you possibly assume something and I didn't even tell you? So it just goes to show you at the end of the day, what's your true motive at the end of the day? And I say that respectfully. You're reevaluating your thought process, analyzing the conversation within the conversation. They start to sneak dish you when you least expect it. All because you allow someone to come into your inner space and be your authentic self. You know how when you love yourself, misery loves company. They start to display that they are hate in disguise. They start to display that they jealous of you. And it physically comes out their mouth. These words are verbally coming out their mouth. If you ever heard somebody say, I am jealous of you, that's dangerous. That is so dangerous. It is. How you allow someone to come into your inner circle and you know you love yourself and you know how to love yourself to respect your neighbor with noblest intentions, right? And because you know how to do so, a hate in disguise will be so close to you because they're sitting there playing you so close that they could bring harm towards you when you least expect it. And because you start to realize certain conversation within the conversation, I gotta distance myself because you're being a little weird today. And because they realize you're distancing yourself from them, they start to disrespect you in the most toxic way. And then they start to bring up the fact that that's how they was brought up. But they have kids. So you mean to tell me this is how you send your child off to school? To hurt other innocent children? It's the mindset for me. Jealousy is a drug. It's like an addict. Something that you're not trying to quit. And you're not understanding why you're going through what you're going through in your life. It's unhealthy. It's not cute. It's not attractive at all. It's nothing attractive about you being jealous and a hate in disguise to have malicious intentions towards your neighbor. Nothing attractive about you. And then you sit there and play somebody close. That is so unhealthy. Because now what happens is you sat there and played them so close. You have malicious intentions now, and you be the first one to play victim. Oh, I don't know what happened to them. You see how that works? When you had the enemy so close to you? When they were showing you signs, at the end of the day, they was a hate in disguise. That's why you got to protect your energy, because not everybody's serving your time. Coming out your comfort zone. Don't be scared to. But you got to protect your energy. You do. You have to protect your energy. You know, not everybody experienced stuff like this, but majority do. They do. Having to deal with a hater. Someone that has jealousy tendencies. That's envious of somebody. It's unhealthy. It is truly unhealthy. It is. You saying you sitting there looking to come out your comfort zone and get to know new people or whatever the case may be. How you coming out your comfort zone to interact with new people, but your mindset is already set up the way it is, with malicious intentions? It's unhealthy. It really is. It truly is. It really is unhealthy. Sitting there trying to play somebody close. All because they love themselves. And you can't get in tune to love yourself. You sit there and fake gaslight yourself because you don't know yourself, to love yourself. It be the thought process for me. Wow. It's totally unhealthy. It really is unhealthy. It really is unhealthy. It is. And it's sad to see that overly grown adults act like this. And then the first thing you're projecting is somebody think they better than somebody because they love themselves. What? What are you talking about? How you sitting there saying that that's your family, this is your friend, this is this person to you, or whatever the case may be. And because they love themselves or whatever the case may be, they think they better than somebody. Why? Because they love themselves. They not bringing harm towards themselves or others around them. They just motivating themselves to become their best self version of themselves. Something that you can't get in tune with. Yourself. You know, God said there are better days ahead. There are better days ahead, and I truly believe so too. But this projection that's being put into the universe, it really is unhealthy and it really needs to stop. So if anybody comes in contact with my page at the end of the day and you are hating disguise, this page is not for you. And I say that respectfully. If you're a jealous, envious person at the end of the day, this page is not for you. It's not. So return back to sender, and I say that respectfully, because this page is not for you. Save your comments at the end of the day for your mama. Respectfully. Because it don't live here today. It's the thought process for me. You know, these tools that God installed within us, self-awareness, self-respect, self-peace, self-control, self-discipline, self-confidence, self-care, self-value, self-love, self-worth, self-patience, healthy boundaries, and healthy balance. Having balance for yourself to show for yourself. When God removes certain individuals out of your life for all the right reasons, it was to protect you. It was to allow you to see that you can become your best self vision of yourself. Not everybody's meant to go to the next stop with you. When it comes to your journey of your walk of life. And because you choose your best self vision of yourself to understand the healing within, to love yourself, they're not going to understand how God is favoring you today. Regardless of the trauma that was endured with you from a child point of view going into your adulthood, they're not going to understand. It's not meant for them to understand. But you see how God was holding you and covering you for all the right reasons and hiding you from everybody and then revealed you who you truly was for all the right reasons. Sometimes God does that. Because God was protecting you for all the right reasons. Because you are the miracle within the miracle to yourself. And God allowed you to see another day for all the right reasons so you can become your best self vision of yourself. And because when God protects you from certain individuals, they're not going to understand how you're becoming your best self visions of yourself in certain areas and how you overcome the trauma and the pain when it comes to certain areas of your life. And you mean what you say and you say what you mean, that you ain't got to fake gaslight yourself and wear a mask to tune into yourself because you actually mean who you are and you mean what you say when you say what you say, that you real with yourself. And God has been favoring you, regardless of what pain was installed within you. Yeah, that relationship didn't work out. That business opportunity didn't work out for you. Them folks weren't for you. Them family members were not for you. They hurt you, try to bring you down when you couldn't see for yourself. But God picked you back up. God picked you back. God picked you back up. And when God picked you back up, God nurtured you to show you at the end of the day, it wasn't about them. It's about you. You choosing your best self vision of yourself. And because when they look at you, they not understand how. But God knows how. And God knows why. Because God chose you. And they not going to understand why God chose you. It wasn't meant for them to understand. Because they wasn't part of the plan. So because they wasn't part of the plan, always love you. The healthy self-vision of yourself. Don't live in fear. Don't live in discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Don't allow yourself to live in a discouraging moment every single day of your life. Or allow yourself to give up on yourself. Don't do such a thing. Because you matter. You do. You matter. And you matter so much to yourself. It was days you may have overlooked yourself. And because those days you overlooked yourself, the enemy thought that you wasn't going to see your self-reflection of yourself so you can be able to elevate. But God said there are better days ahead, and God is still patient with your process. God is still patient with you. God's protection for every direction, because God said there are better days ahead. God is so good. God is good. You matter. You do. They're not going to understand how you smiling within. You know, you genuinely, authentically smiling from the inside, and it shows on the outside how loving you are within. And they're not going to understand your reflection of your reflection, that you're showing up for yourself. Because you became your win for your win. When you chose your best self-vision of yourself. It wasn't about them. You ain't in competition with nobody. You just knew how to love yourself, and that became the win. That energy hit different, don't it? It do. Because you understand now, you know what? A projection that was being projected on me, that's not who I am. They manipulated me too long. They brainwashed me too long. They allowed me to feel like I wasn't able to come out of my comfort zone. They allowed me to feel that I need to live in fear. It was a projection of somebody else's projection that was put on you. And you overrided that projection. And you chose you. To love and honor you. They didn't respect and honor you. But because you chose to love and respect and honor you, now you understand the assignment within the assignment, that there are better days ahead, and choosing your best self-vision of yourself in the most healthiest way. God will send the right people into your life when you least expect it, because you chose you. So continue to choose your best self-vision of yourself. They're not going to understand how, why. They're not. But choose you, because you matter. Good day, bad day, misunderstanding day, always choose you. Always. Always choose you. You matter. You are worthy. Protect your energy, because not everybody's deserving your time. Just because someone gave up on you, don't give up on yourself. Just because someone overlooked you, don't give up on yourself. You are genuinely loved by all the right people. You are genuinely respected by all the right people. And you deserve to be treated with respect 365 days with no malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself and others around you. Protect your energy, because not everybody's deserving your time. They're not. Never allow the hate in disguise or person with malicious intentions psych you out your freedom, your thought process, your eyesight, and your pockets. Because you are worthy and you matter. You matter. You do. You matter. You so do matter. Just be patient with your process. Because God still chose you to see on the day for all the right reasons. And as you look at your reflection of yourself, always choose you. Because God chose you. When you have self-awareness, you're able to understand why you chose you. When you are the reflection of yourself. Because you are worthy. Love yourself, with God's protection every direction. Love yourself, love yourself. Love yourself, with God's protection every direction. Love yourself, love yourself. I truly appreciate your time. To the genuine ones only. Have a good day. Have a safe week ahead of you, a remaining week ahead of you, and have a safe weekend in store within that's coming up. Protect your energy. Be safe. Love yourself with God's protection for every direction. Night, genuine love, respect. I truly appreciate your time. To the genuine ones only. Later.